Yeah.
And so this is like Ken's just going around this course that's down there where they're testing, and he's just like full on jumping the truck and like doing all kinds of crazy stuff, ripping it, shakedown basically. Like, look at the suspension, like fully bottoming out the suspension, just like laughing. And then he's like, yeah, so suit up and we'll get in the truck. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, come on, let's go. And I was like, wow, this is fucking epic. And
what I love about you doing this job is the fact that you start to share it. Like, oh, I'm doing this. Like a nothing. Just right, I'm doing this. I was like, holy shit. This looks fucking awesome, man. And you go, oh, well, I'm trying my best. I go, oh, motherfucker. You are killing it here.
And it's kind of funny. I was showing this to Ken. He was like, damn, what the heck? I was like, yeah, man, like, let's do this. And, there's just so much money and stuff involved that it would have been just too complicated to do. But it's kind of like you're fighting, like you're having to pick and choose. Like, look at all these pinches and stuff. It's just a nightmare. It's just so bad.
I love you are completely honest here about the process, about polymodel.
Oh, yeah, it's difficult. Yeah.
It's really tricky.
Yeah, here you can kind of see the stock door and then modifying the stock body.
Such a nightmare.
PTSD. Look at this, like, ew. We're here, yay.
One more time, here we go again.
Yes. So the meta was just the last one if you've been watching the series, so you've seen the meta. And now we're in the Raptor-R. Ironically, I think that I was kicking this idea around prior to the meta taking way. So this was kind of like you're seeing this before that, or in timeline. So, but it's nice to be here, and it's awesome to spend some time with you and everybody. Man. It's another cool episode.
Yeah. Also, I think it's good to have really close episodes so you can compare side by side and connect the narrative between what happened with the meta and what happened with the Raptor. And everything's going to make more sense now when you watch this episode from the meta.
Yeah. It all kind of connects, which is cool. There's so much to talk about with this. I'm really excited. As we always do when we first start talking about these projects, is we try to give love to the original design team and the impetus. So this is Tom Liu, I believe is his name. Mm-hmm. But this is the Gen 3. I have Gen 2, and the Raptor-R is based on the Generation 2. This is before the Gen 3, I think, came out, I believe. Mm-hmm. But I was watching some videos, and that when I looked on the internet, I think it was just Ford's internal design team that did the Generation 1 and Generation 2. And then this is the first time where I think there's been a lead designer on it for Gen 3. And it's really cool. I mean,
it's amazing, man.
Yeah, it's really cool to see all his different options. And he's obviously very inspired by American military and the actual Raptor, F-22 Raptor as well, which is a part of his design impetus as well. Some cool things about him. He studied in China, and then he was working at Honda in China, I believe, and then came over to America in like around 2016 or so, and he's been working at Ford internally, which is really cool too. And
wow,
it's rad to see
this is really inspiring, man, to see all this sketch like that. You can tell where the final product is coming from, coming from the hand, from the paper. So inspiring.
I think it's a it's a thing that I'll talk about too with this episode, how I didn't do any of these things, and that when you don't do this kind of stuff, there's something that happens through the transference of energy or whatever, that you can take those sketches and you can bring them into reality, which is really key. And if you don't do that, then you're kind of missing this step, which is unfortunate usually. But yeah, you can kind of see all the sketches and drawings and the lines and the art and stuff, which is really killer. It's cool. This is, again, the Gen 3. I personally favor the Gen 2, but there's things about the Gen 3 that are awesome. Mainly like this.
Yeah, I know what you know.
You know exactly. Like, I love this. I also love all this. Like, that's awesome. It's just really nicely done. This is a really nice illustration too. Like,
it is. It's really cool.
Nice to see the hand of an artist, and you can really feel it in this work as well. and it's cool to see like the pedigree that's put into this, from, you know, other things outside of like say automotive, using using military stuff is just always the kind of the key, right? And it makes sense with the theme of the Raptor, because what it is, the pedigree of it, which is really cool. It's, you know, I have a personal preference to it, and I'll get into that in just a minute here, but it's really cool. So this is again Gen 3, and he's the one that has been designing the Gen 3. But yeah,
As you know, you passed me an hour ago a video about a review about the Raptor, and it was really cool to see the team, this lead designer talking about the process and all that. And maybe something like I miss. Obviously, I'm not really well know about trucks. I know is huge in the state, and it's
yeah,
basically 50% of people is having a truck. And
yep,
something like a Ford did really well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like in 2009 is when the Raptor show up as a new style of cars, and kind of a pickup truck, a beautiful, super kind of aggressive and massive arc wheels, fenders, to be prepared for Baja truck. I don't know, is that a thing? So they were designing the truck to thinking further what it could be the most radical version, using sort of a Baja setup, using the
yes,
standard, right?
yeah, yeah. I believe it was 2009 was the first generation of Raptor, and that was based on the racing pedigree from Baja. Again, when you have an automotive industry or an automotive manufacturer using actual racing as the inspiration, you end up getting a really awesome product. It's a proven method Ford's been using this forever, like the Mustang and the GT40 and the Cobra, and all of these things come from racing lineage, and they keep adding on to it every year. And this is the first time I think so they had their F-150, then the F-150 turned into the F-150 Raptor, which is like an addition of the F-150, just beefed up based on Baja. And I believe there's so many stats and information that I don't know the data on it, but if you want to research it, I think it was one of the trucks that was like from the factory did Baja and was like did it, you know, like from then and back, which is amazing. And it's just really cool. Like it's just again, when you have an auto manufacturer that's willing to do that, use the pedigree. Unlike some auto manufacturers don't use that, and they just use it off of like weird data or what they think people want, and then they just make these weird cars that are instantly forgettable. And a lot of them do that, but where there's a legacy attached, as I think you can see it here with this truck, the lineage that it has, what it means to the American people. Again, using like American military as inspiration is really cool too. So there's just a lot of really cool stuff that's like everything's attached to, which is nice. Yeah.
Nice.
So it's all like a pedigree thing. Yeah. Very
Damn,
nice.
this really inspiring, man.
Yeah, it's super cool. It's cool to see. I will talk about too, when and I'll talk about Ken here in a minute, but when I was first thinking about getting a Raptor, well, I've been fantasizing about having one since like the first one. I was like, oh man, that's the coolest truck ever. And when I decided which one I wanted, which was the Gen 1 or Gen 2, sorry, I decided that. And then I found this company through Ken, which is SVC, and they do these like epic, super wide, ultra beefy boys. Like they, yeah. They do all kinds of crazy stuff. You have to like notch the frame and cut the frame and do all these kind of things. You can see like where you'd have to cut the frame in order to get the bumper to sit up higher and stuff for more clearance. Yeah, you see that, like you have to cut all that, which is like, yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, I was really interested in it. And then the moment I saw these renders and stuff, or not renders, but the actual truck, I was like, yeah, I need this in my life. Then I realized it's like 150,000 or something like that, or like 100,000 or something crazy. Because you have to swap out so many things and so much modification. I could be wrong. It could be less than that. But I was like, oh, okay, I'm not going to do that.
So going back to the Raptor conversation, because you fell in love with the Raptor, how that happened? What happened there? Why you pick on that truck and not maybe a utilitarian car, and that's it? Because you came from something, you drove so many sport car, and now you decide to pick a truck. Why?
Yeah.
What was the reason there?
Well, I feel like it's the same thing, right? It's just people wanting to make rad machines to go enjoy things at rapid speed. So it's the same thing as like any race car. It's just a different terrain and a different intention. So I think it's all kind of connected in my mind. I feel like the Raptor is just I always say the Raptor is four cars, for three vehicles. It's a luxury vehicle because that's what it is to me. It's a race car because it is. You put it in Baja mode and you have the most fun. And it's also like a utility. It's a truck. You can tow things with it. You can put stuff in the back. So it's a truck, a race car, and a luxury vehicle. And so when I bought this, it was like I got three vehicles in one. And every time I drive my truck, I love it. It makes me happy. It makes me smile. And I've been thankful. I've been able to own like over 20 plus cars, and this is by far the best vehicle I've ever owned, simply because it provides all of those things. It's just awesome.
The best investment you've done so far.
Yeah, and I bought it used, and I bought it from a family member, so I knew who it was coming from, and I got it for a really good price pre-COVID, which is amazing. So it doubled its price and value when COVID was going crazy. I didn't sell it because I was like, I don't see the point in selling this. There's no other vehicle that can even match it on the market. This was before the Ram TRX, which I still don't think is a very realistic vehicle for me personally, because it gets like 3 miles a gallon or something crazy.
So it's actually out of the box has the V8 Hellcat engine, or you can pick different.
Hellcat supercharged V8 700 plus horsepower thing. Yeah, just a beast. Yeah,
It's looking good though. It's looking good.
Yeah. I personally, I favor the look and design of the Ford way more than the Ram. But I'm also, this is when you get into like brand and stuff. It's like I don't have a Cybertruck because I don't like the way it looks, and I don't think it's a very functioning vehicle for me personally. So the Raptor is like everything. So the answer, and it's kind of multifaceted, is this is before I owned the truck. I had a fantasy of wanting one, and I've never owned a truck in my life. So it's the first truck was the Raptor, which was really awesome.
So you went for a leap of faith. Just all right. I'm gonna go there, Raptor.
Basically, well, actually, I have Ken to blame for this.
All right, that makes sense.
So, well, I was talking to Ken at the time, and I said, "Hey, out of all your vehicles, which is your favorite, the one that you like the most?" And this is before you had the Ram. And he said, I would have to say it was my Raptor. And when he said that, I was like, well, he's the guy that has all of the coolest cars. And so if he says his Raptor is like his favorite vehicle, simply because he lived in Utah and he could, load the kids up, load the dogs up, get the family going, can go out and do things. You can go rip it, having fun in the trails. It's truly an experience machine. And so when Ken told me that was like the last thing. I was like, okay, for sure. Like, when you're trying to do something where you're spending a lot of money, you're trying to find the answer of why you would do it. And that was like the final, all right, Ken approves, this is the thing. And he had zero bad things to say about it and only good things.
Man, that's just a small example of the value of that word. When someone tell you, all right, I'm doing this, but the fact that you are spending so much money and you went into it with no doubt this is going to be the truck.
Yeah.
Because Ken, that's to me is like that's a massive statement,
Yeah. It was really awesome. And I'll show you some stuff. And this is a photo I took of Ken when we got together down towards very southern California, right near the border of Mexico. And he was doing some tests on this other thing that kind of spurred into all this stuff. But yeah, he was basically one of the main catalysts. Obviously, I always wanted that vehicle and never. I think, So this was like 2020, I believe, is when I got it. Maybe 2019, 2020 is when I got it. And I guess I've had it for 5 years, which is crazy. I never have a vehicle for that long. Usually I get rid of them. But this is the longest I've ever had a vehicle, and I don't have any plan to get anything else. Like, I was looking at the latest Toyota Explorer Ford
Explorer? No.
what is it called? It's like the beautiful thing that they just released. It's so beautiful, but in my mind, it's like, it's so expensive and I can't even touch the Raptor still. So I'm like, no. And then the Ram truck just makes 0 sense to me personally. So the Raptor still, in my mind, it's still the best thing. The Bronco maybe, but in my mind, to replace it, doesn't make any sense. This was the truck that I was talking about. These are the renders. So Ken and I, we had a really great rapport where Ken was a genius at marketing and putting together ideas. And one of the things that we talked about as a strategy together was that I would provide an early look at the vehicle before it was actually made or finished. And he could use that to get the word out, show the livery, get his whole sponsorship, everything sorted out so that he can get funds to then pay for these builds or whatever financial. I don't know how the finances worked with him, but this was like a strategy that we had and it worked amazing. It was really great. And he loved it, and we had a really fun time with that. And I have PTSD trying to line this up without UV, so I was using like all kinds of tricks, which is gnarly, trying to get this livery to like fit nicely. Like, so fun.
It's really cool, man, to see that all these backstory. Because I remember back then you were working on this one, and you were sharing me some whips, BTS behind the scenes, some renders, and one thing I'm gonna tell you. My point of view was like I start to feel really proud of you doing this for so many reasons. One of them it was because I know you had a hard time with the CG stuff and all your journey, and now I see you working with Clem Block, rendering his truck in this beautiful white studio setup. Where I'm looking from through the screen, I see this this looks real. It looks fucking awesome. I mean, actually, the front shot is really good. That's awesome, man. And I remember back then when you were showing this, what I love about you doing this job is the fact that you start to share it. Like, oh, I'm doing this. Like nothing. It's just right, I'm doing this. I was like, holy shit. This looks fucking awesome, man. And you go, oh, well, I'm trying my best. I go, oh, motherfucker, you are doing it here. And it was super, super nice, man, to see you exceed and doing an amazing job with Ken Block. And also, shout out to Ken Block as well, because he has the vision,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he never understood how CGI work. Are you guys doing UVs? Who is modeling? Why you need reference for?
He doesn't even
you
care.
Just do the truck, right? But he was like, you know what? I trust you. You can just do it. Yeah. And he was willing to make the bet with you and say, all right, you do the renders, because he has already the vision of also align with you to make the strategic drop, I guess, with the livery at the truck, at the studio, beautiful renders, everything clean. I wonder how much of this plan is coming from you or Ken in terms of a visual aesthetic of these renders.
I'd say it was so much more on him. I mean, the visual aesthetic, I just pitched him. I said, let's just put the truck in a nice white studio and keep it isolated in a cool way. And he was like, yeah, that sounds great. He had already been working with, I forget the guy's name, the artist that does the beautiful letters that became the sense of delivery for his vehicles. I think he was working with him on, because every time Ken would do a drop, he was, again, very smart. He was like, okay, I need to have something new. I need a new thing, and then we need to drop that with the car, and everything had to come together, but we need a new livery that kind of all kinds comes together, and it becomes a thing that people can collect and be a part of his legacy. It's just smart. It's just good marketing. It's good thinking. It's just business sense, basically. And the cool thing is Ken would allow me complete freedom for the most part. And I would work with Marcus. I believe Marcus is his name. Marcus is Ken's main graphic designer that would work with him on getting all the liveries, the decals, and everything set up. So Marcus would send me over like a front, a side, a top shot in Illustrator with all the graphics. And then I would transfer all those graphics, make them all decals, and then place them on there. And get them all sorted to try and match the decal without UV. Oh my God, it's so tricky because you have multiple steps and stuff. But I got most of it, which is cool. And this is prior to me doing UVs. So,
How many back and forth do you have, guys? Because I know working with brands is really tricky sometimes. All the size of the sponsorship has to be accurate because that's is equal to money. So the bigger you pay more. So it has to be really accurate. All the brand has to be on point. Everything has to be updated. How much pain it was going through?
Not too bad, actually, when I think about it, because I think Ken so Ken was like the main dude, and Ken would connect and make it all happen, and then he would work with Marcus. Marcus would place it, and then they would get all of that approved prior to coming to me. So it saved me a lot of drama. There'd be some back and forth, some things here and there, but nothing too intense. It was Ken was demanding, and he was intense at times, but at the same time, it's just because he was going full power, and I like that. I like intense people. I like it when they go full power. It's fun. It's good to be around that.
That's amazing, because I know how tricky it could be in that kind of process where you have to manage so many things in one drop like this, one track, so many brands, so many sponsors, so many attached to it, and only few guys, a small team doing this is really inspiring, man. Really cool.
Yeah. Again, I think it's hats off to the way that he liked to work. If I understood it, is small, light, agile, like we like to work. It's like small, light, agile, dedicate, like leadership comes from the top, and it's really clean and clear, and you're just executing basically. And I think that's the best way to effectively get things done. And he was just, I've learned so much from him, and I'm still, I miss him so much. And I think about all of these projects, and this stuff makes me quite emotional, because this is like one of those steps towards, like, we had more plans of doing more cool stuff, and it was just like it was a really fun process, really, and I learned a lot through it. And also, I would say so much of this as a success comes from all the stuff that we were doing for the past years, because knowing how to light, using the light, the materials, like building out nodes and getting everything to really function and work well, that was all based on all of the knowledge that has been growing and accelerating through doing MHC. And that's been like, a tie to all of these things, because if you look at, I don't have it here, but if you look at my renders before we were doing this, and then now, it's like, it's a huge leap, but that's also just tons of work and time and effort, and we're really pushing internally and trying to, figure out like how this is all going to work and make sense and stuff. But yeah. So it was a good process.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned, I'm really proud of you, man. The way you're coming from to this stage is a huge leap, and I'm not getting this for granted. You doing yourself. So some people will say, oh yeah, because you're using blah blah blah, or you're using blah blah blah, or someone else is helping out. No, not really. You did it yourself.
Yeah. Everybody's got an opinion, and everybody thinks they're right, but yeah, at the end of the day, it's just you sitting there working it out and trying to figure it out. And like as you said too, which was fun, is like I knew that I was making something that was kind of fun. And so by the time I got it to a place, I would send it to you and be like, look what I have. And you'd be like, what the fuck? So that was really fun, So that was that process and that project. And these are some photos I took of Ken actually driving it. There's an episode.
So good, man. What?
Yeah, it's so awesome. One of the things that I really, really, again, there's a lot of lessons that I take from Ken. One of them is he had an awesome life, and he liked to share his life with other people. He kind of lived like a superhero life. So he would just text me like, hey, what are you doing next week? And then I'd be like, oh, I'm just working. He's like, oh, you should come down and check out the truck. And I was like, yeah, okay, I would love to. And sometimes I would be busy. I couldn't make it, which sucked. And then sometimes I could. And this was one of the times that I could. And it was awesome. And there's an episode on YouTube, you can probably find it, where he was like, I never tried to assume, like, oh, I'm going to go and we're going to do this and that. I never assumed with him. I just thought he was busy, and whatever happens. And I like to keep everything open. Yeah. And so this is like, Ken's just going around this course that's down there where they're testing, and he's just like full on jumping the truck and like doing all kinds of crazy stuff, ripping it, shake down, basically. Like, look at the suspension, like fully bottoming out the suspension, just like laughing, And then he's like, yeah, so suit up and we'll get in the truck. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, come on, let's go. And I was like, wow, this is fucking epic. And yeah, there's been two times in my life where I've had a chance to be with Ken driving. One of them was the Kazi V2 that we worked on together. And then there's the truck as well. This fully bottoming out. The suspension's so crazy. Yeah, again, it's just like flat out stuff. But yeah, it was a real surreal thing. You can watch the video. I won't talk about it too much, but it's just
man, please, something like I think you told me many times, but I would love if you don't mind to share how do you felt in that truck flying with Ken, because I would love to hear it again if you don't mind, man. How was it? Because you never been in this kind of truck. It was the first time this kind of experience, right? A massive truck, and then you've been drove by Ken Block. What the fuck?
yeah, that's true. It is really significant, and thanks for reminding me. Yeah, it was just amazing. So he was like, yeah, somebody get Ash a helmet and get the comms in there, and I'm just wearing like a t-shirt and shorts. You know, it's already really hot down there. And yeah, we get in the truck. I'm just completely, it's very ethereal. Again, as you mentioned, I've never been around this stuff. It's like it's a very expensive sport, and I don't know people that do it. And that's a whole nother world. Like all of these guys that do this stuff is like a whole nother thing. So yeah, I'm in the truck, and like Ken is just like driving like Ken does. He has zero mechanical sympathy, so he just goes like flat out everywhere, and he's very skilled, obviously, and he understands how to like maneuver a vehicle incredibly well. People criticize his driving. I think his driving is incredible. They also have never probably been in the vehicle with him. It's just when you're with somebody doing these kind of things, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's very surreal. It's almost like an outer body experience. I don't know how to describe it, but it just feels like a couple hours ago I was in my office at my desk, and then a couple hours later I'm in Ken's truck drumping. And it's crazy because you got a 5-point harness, you got shoulders, waist, and then you have your sub belt basically. And I'm in there and I can hear Ken, and we're talking. I can hear also like comms back to headquarters, which is like this, you know, the tent or whatever. And there's like these jumps that he's found, and we're like full on like launching, and all you see, because you're just stuck, you can't move and you can't move your head. So all you see is blue sky, and then back to ground, and then back to sky, and then back to ground, and all is, I don't know how to. There was this one moment, and I think I've told this story before. It was one of my favorite memories with Ken. Is and I could just tell like he's completely in his element. It was really inspiring, you know. It's like it's very infectious, and this is to shake down the truck to make sure it's ready, because he went out and raced Baja, and that was incredible. But this is to get the truck to make sure that he felt comfortable with it. And, you know, it's incredible what they do. Like Ken didn't get a lot of seat time with any of his vehicles, really, from what I understand, but he would have to do high level stuff like race super intense or do like Gymkhana videos. And it's like, you only have so many, like it's minutes, you know, it's not like hours. This one, I think he had a couple hours maybe, but just off and on before things break, and then you have to adjust. And it's a very expensive procedure because he has a whole team of technicians. But when we was doing the jumps and the helicopters chasing and all, it's just fucking weird. And then Ken is just like, you ready? And I was like, yeah. And then I was like, this is crazy. And then he just picks a spot on the horizon and just floors it in this monster truck. And we're just going flat out, wide open throttle. And I don't know where the direction, just running over everything. And he's just laughing. And then I'm laughing, and we're just
wait. But hold on, sorry to interrupt, but I wonder if that laugh is making you worry. Like, is this laughing because he's crazy, or is laughing because he's confident?
No, I like a crazy person. I'm like all in on the crazy. So I was like, so I started laughing, and just to encourage his evil laughing, and it was just a lot of like he was like, and we're just like, and I'm like, yeah. And I just, it was so fun. And again, as I mentioned, I think that's part of his genius. Like, you know, he didn't have to introduce me or invite me to these things or have me along. And it's something that I always really appreciate about him, it's a lesson that I always try to remember, is like life's better with people in it, and life's really great with the right people in it. And I know that he knew that how appreciative I was of that, of course. And I was just super thankful. I just, such a rad dude, and I miss him so much. It's not just because of those things, but because what he did for me in my life and all of these kind of things. And I'm so thankful that I have these memories to lock in on. And so it was so cool. I mean, come on, look at this big truck just doing like jumps.
That's a great, man. That's a really nice takeaway, man. Amazing, really inspiring.
So cool. Yeah, I've always wanted a Raptor, and then Ken had one, and he told me that's his favorite vehicle. That's locked it in, and then so then I got one. And this is kind of a bad resolution of this photo, but this photo was captured by Aaron Beck, who's also an incredible designer and does amazing vehicles. And he also has a Raptor, and he had his Raptor before mine. Before I got mine, and we went out one day. We went out and did like a trip through Big Bear, and then we went down to like Lucerne Valley, which has like these flat salt lake beds, and we just went ape shit for a day, and we were passing each other the camera and just doing crazy stuff. And I also, to think about Ken, is I remember taking this photo, or Aaron took this photo. I was grading it like, oh man, this is awesome, because a lot of times people criticize people with Raptors, like, they just say, oh, you just go to the mall or the grocery store with them, which is true, which is why they're so incredible, right? You can go to the grocery store, you can go shopping.
Really drive, really easy, yeah.
You can use it for everything. I mean, you've experienced the Raptor. I brought us back home from SEMA in it, and we went through the desert a little bit too, which was really fun. But I like this because anytime anybody gives me crap about it, I just send them this picture, and I'm like, then now you send me a picture of you and your truck that's better than this. And then they can't, and then I'm just like, then shut the fuck up.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's true that when I was there with you, when you invited me there, and we spent the entire week, we went to, what was the desert?
Mojave?
Mojave, yeah. We went through the desert, and then everything clicked and everything makes sense. At that point, it was just smashing it and just putting down the throttle, going through the dunes, and the Raptor, it was like a nothing. I was looking outside, like, I cannot be, the terrain is dangerous, but the Raptor seems like a snowboarding, just smooth and just going over like a nothing.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe, you were giggling, we were both giggling. Like, oh yeah, boom, boom.
Yeah, Beavis and Butthead. Yeah, the real life Beavis and Butthead. Yeah. Yeah, and that was just like a little brief. I put it in Baja mode, and I was just ripping around, and it was so fun. And again, as I mentioned, we're comfortably like listening to music and air conditioned seats, just cruising, and it's just, yeah, it's awesome. And this was a really great trip, and it's really fun memories. This is just like a photo stack of photos.
I remember this.
This is another shot from that Aaron took of me driving, which is a great one, just ripping it and then stopping. The only problem with this is that I have to clean the car or the truck, and it's just like, oh, it's a lot to clean. Well, but, I've done quite a few trips in it. Yeah, there I am again, just ripping it, just tearing up here we are, another shot from Aaron. Nice. We'd pass it back and forth. He had his truck, so I was taking photos of him and his truck, and then vice versa. This is me out in Utah. Utah is one of my favorite states in America. It's absolutely incredible. It's got so many. It's got rice. Right? Like, look at this. It's just, yeah. We were out there in winter time. These are some photos that I took of it. And the reason why I attached this is I've had like really cool cars. The car I actually had to sell to get the Raptor was my NSX, and I'm so happy I did. Even though I missed the NSX, the NSX was very specific for a specific thing. And there's a lot of people here in California. You can't drive very fast, and it's annoying. And then I'm not wealthy enough to have a race car to go and tow it and all that stuff. So it was like this in-between car that I just didn't get a chance to use really. Whereas the Raptor is, you can just get into it, find a road, look on the Google Maps, and then you can most likely get onto them, and you can just go around the fire roads and stuff and explore. And that's really what I did. I would just go around and bring my camera, and
it seems like it's totally logical. It makes totally sense if you're living in a state, even in anywhere, basically. You have a beautiful nature to explore, and this car allows to you unlock so many places to go in the most pleasant, maybe random, right? This week I'm gonna go in this place. I don't know what happened, but you feel safe and secure. You're having a massive track to go over. It's great.
Yeah, it's just like a moving living room. You know, you just go around and explore and try things. And yeah, I remember I was out in Utah and it was snowing, and I was like, my wife doesn't like aggressive driving when I do. So I was like, okay, stay in the hotel. I'm going to take the Raptor out. And then I went on Google Maps, found some like obscure fire roads. There was nobody on it. I was just like Baja mode the whole time, wide open throttle, ripping, just doing donuts, laughing, giggling, like just thankfully nothing broke. And it's just so cool. Like just seeing the truck, it was so filthy after that trip, but it was so worth every bit. It was just so cool. And that's really what I think this thing is. It's an adventure machine. It truly opens up, you know, instead of like the NSX was like, I had to drive it on really good roads and it was just great. But this turned into like, it became the NSX that I wanted, that I could go out into the world and experience things. And I've done so many trips. It fits all the homies in it. We can go ripping. It's this, it's hands down the best vehicle I've ever owned. And I love it so much. And, yeah, it's just super cool. This is before I have 1552s on it. Now this is like the stock wheel as well, which I don't really like the design of the new one that I have. It's pretty killer, but yeah, super
fantastic,
pumped.
man. It is amazing. Also, the good thing is that you are touching so many things here together. You have the Raptor, you have the trip, you have the hangout with your friend, and then photos all together. That's amazing.
Yes. Yeah, good memories, really good memories. And Aaron's F-150, same model year, and he really uses his truck. He uses it way more than I do mine. I have OCD, so I actually had the whole entire truck, all the paint covered in clear paint protection film, because I knew I would do this with it, and I want it to be nice and clean when I want to clean it. So yeah, but I really love this truck, and doing all this reminds me I need to go out, do some more trips and go. I have to
be honest. It didn't surprise me the capability of the Raptor. It makes sense when you see the Raptor and see outside the wheels and the suspension, how high it is. What surprised me though, it was the interior. I was like, wow, this is massive.
Yeah, it's huge in there.
It's so wide. It's so much space inside. It's crazy. I think I get used to it for this kind of a big car, but I never thought this could be this big. Interior,
it's huge. Yeah.
You see the seat here, the massive gap between one seat and another.
Yes, yeah,
crazy.
That's the best. Yeah, it's so wide that it has to have these 3 markers. It's at the time I think it was one of the widest trucks available. And these 3 markers are what semis have to have, so people behind you know, I believe. So it's like it's a road safety thing, which is awesome. And a lot of trucks, another thing that's I know it's kind of like a security thing, but like a lot of trucks try to be the Raptor and they do like fake lights and stuff. It's like, dude, stop it, you know? So mostly a lot of my friends that are Toyota guys are always, Toyota Raptor. I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Stop putting makeup, man.
Yeah, or like Jeep guys, like, okay, that's cute, you know? Whereas Jeeps, you know, they're just a different animal. The short wheelbase 2-door ones can get around things that the Raptor just can't because it's long and the high centers on it, but get me out there on a flat, it's like, see everybody, goodbye. Yeah. I mean, the TRX, but then there's the Raptor-R, so that's a whole thing. But again, none of that stuff matters if you don't use it. Yep. And for me, it's as I mentioned, this unlocks so many amazing experiences and got me to be out in nature more, which, as you know, it's part of my mental health or whatever that is, and gets me to just kind of get out and enjoy it. And reminds me again, as I mentioned, like doing this, like, I need to set some time. Been traveling so much and then been so busy. I need to spend some time, get in the truck and just go out and do like a little road trip and just take photos and just be present with it.
I'm pretty sure you wouldn't do it with NSX.
No. Yeah, I just couldn't. Yeah. It's not possible. You know, the 240Z is taking up all my time now, so I need to give the Raptor some love and some time. Yeah. But as we do with our stuff, we kind of segue and go into the basis. One of the things I mentioned earlier when I was showing the sketches is I did not sketch this car. I actually went only into 3D because I actually knew exactly what I wanted it to be. But I wish that I didn't do that. Looking back at it now, I think it's easy to do that later, but I actually did a lot of modifications. This is my
It's
really
way
horrible-
wider, right?
Yeah, it's quite a bit. You know, the same formula I always do. Like, widen it out. Wider. Yeah. This is my attempt at polymodeling, which is really tricky. Yeah, working through it, getting all the forms, trying to maintain the same shapes and stuff. Obviously, there's tension marks and all kinds of issues here.
Oh, nice.
But it was fun. Yeah.
Nice. I think mainly because you know really well your truck, where you look in your truck every single day.
That's
At least
true.
you can. You can just go to the garage and see, oh, how is it
Yeah.
sleeping? Here you go.
Yeah.
And I wonder how much influence having a truck and knowing really well your truck, creating your own version, is sort of a compromise. Is challenging. It's challenging, or is even better because you know really well your truck.
I'd say it just added to it. I knew exactly what I wanted it to be. I basically removed any functionality of it and ruined it. Because I think the perfect version of it is the way it is now. So many of my friends are like, "Oh, you're gonna modify it and do that?" Because I usually modify all my vehicles. I'm like, no, like literally Ford and the engineers made this thing so perfect. It's kind of like my I have the same version, but in my bike I have a S-Works. I have a Specialized SL8, which is their best bike. Basically, it's like the Porsche of bikes. It's like, what else would I do that they haven't already perfected? I love that when I spend money at that high level. It's like I just want what they made the best version of and just enjoy that. So this thing, I just basically did what I was hoping that that this was, but this is like Baja spec, like it's a legitimate race truck, but I wanted it to look like this, and it's kind of funny. I was showing this to Ken. He was like, "Damn, what the heck?" I was like, "Yeah, man, like let's do this." And there's just so much money and stuff involved that it would have been just too complicated to do. But
yeah, but I guess using the same chassis and suspension troubles, you can create different body, right? Because the other body is basically a carbon fiber or fiberglass.
Yeah, it's usually like fiberglass or carbon
Kevlar
fiber or like some sort of like composite material. Yeah, because the shell doesn't really matter. Really, what matters is the core inside, and then the shell is just kind of just a silhouette. Oh, here's the old sketch. So I just took the render, took both of them, and then quickly sketched. I guess I did draw, but not a lot. I just knew that I wanted these
Just
perspectives.
enough,
Just enough, yeah. We talk about that too a lot. It's like, for me, I don't draw like the classically trained people do. I just don't draw like that. I mean, I could, but I don't. It's not my thing. Also, my fear of drawing like that is that your cars will look like a car designer's car, which I don't always want, if that makes sense. I kind of want the other approach, was just kind of how I did the Batmobile and all of these things. I wanted something slightly different. Yeah, you can kind of see the difference. So, which comes down to my own method, really, So like my own method is just treating it like I'm in the garage, and what does that look like, and how does that connect, and how does that compose itself?
Yeah, totally makes sense, man. Considering you have the CGI part, you can make a screenshot, painting on top. You don't have to redesign everything from scratch. Where this sketch is coming from that stage where exploring shapes and you go wild and you draw and draw and draw and draw. Here is more like a small speck of window. You have a time frame where it's gonna be maybe 2 days or 1 day sketching, and that's it. That's all what you have, right?
Yeah, just working with what I have. Also, I'm okay at polymodeling at this point here, not great. So I was also fighting with the fact that making this was really difficult for me. Is like, because I was trying to match the stock lines. When you match a stock model that's been, it's just difficult, like you don't have the original splines, original cuts. And it's kind of like you're fighting, like you're having to pick and choose. Like, look at all these pinches and stuff. It's just a nightmare. It's just so bad.
I love you are completely honest here about the process, about polymodeling.
Oh yeah, it's difficult. Yeah,
it's really tricky. because the poly model, the stock model, is coming from a specific shape. If you modify that, it's gonna show up so many artifacts and weird shit. But you did an amazing job hiding those issues. You know.
I tried to. Yeah, it's just such a really hats off to the design team. They just did a great job. Remember, originally I was going to do a Baja spec of the old original one. I still want to do this, and I love these trucks.
Yeah,
these old
because
ones.
we
so
were
cool.
coming from the Lambo, the Zodiac, and the Vanguard. So you would think, oh, what about F-150?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, here you can kind of see the stock door, and then modifying.
Oh my
Here's the
God.
stock body.
Such a nightmare.
It was PTSD. Look at this, like ew. But I was slowly ripping through it, remodeling, retooling things. You know, it's just like, this is all wonky and whack. What I would do now is I would take this base and then bring it into plasticity and do a lot of like really clean CAD stuff and just clean up the effort and the effect. But it's all in stages. As you can see here too. But I actually, you know, looking back on this, of course, it's got a lot of work that it needs to do, but I'm proud that I kept trying.
Yeah.
You know, I could have given up and like, oh, I don't want to do this, you know, but
it's so important. That's something I want to mention right now. The way you describe it seems like a pain. You went through with knowing this is not going to look the most pristine model ever, but I can get away with certain stuff. You know your tricks, you know your way you can hide things, you know where it could be a good angles or where you can show the best version of it, depending on how you see it. And that's really hard because in some point you're going to be with plenty of doubts of what you're doing. Oh man, this poly model is crap. Fuck. And then you ended up in this kind of a spiral of negativity. But you were, you know what? Keep grinding, keep pushing, and getting it done, right?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you know, it's it's never ending. I probably make it look like it's maybe not, but it's just a lot of work. It's just constant grinding to get it. I knew that if I can get it to be somewhat okay, then I could hide certain things and I would be okay at a certain level. And I would get it there eventually. Yeah, just playing with decals and trying to get like, that was one thing I was really trying to do, was push every project. I'm trying to push one little thing. So it's like, how do I make the decal look like it's like stamped off the ground, off the piece, and it's also like has bubbles in it and these kind of things. I don't even know what that is. So, and then some, you know, I love graphics, so I'm always making like graphic packs. It's one of my favorite things to do. Just
I love
to
it,
kind
man.
of throw things together.
I love where you go in this deep note, creating those graphics. It's great to see.
Yeah, it's just fun, you know. We just have fun. And it's a Raptor-R. This was before the R. I knew that Ford was going to be making one. I just had a sense of it, and so I was like, I got to hurry up and do the Raptor-R. And this is testing liveries. This was when you were testing out the HDRI, and we realized we were going to do that. And yeah, just again, if I want to hide bad polygons, I can just use a livery to do so. It's a great method.
Yeah.
And then I did so, and you know, hybridizing everything. So we had the base from the other trophy truck, so just taking that and then modifying it.
Did you model those suspension, right, in Fusion, right?
No, that was the original. Wait, was this? Oh yeah, I guess so. Some of this is from Fusion. Yeah, the original stuff. The rear I know is for sure because it's the MHC stuff. Not this stuff. Yeah, it's like a bastard version of it, all of it together. But yeah, I did. This is from Fusion.
Yeah,
because we have the MHC logo stamped on it, and yeah, all this stuff, the rear and everything. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I like the way that looked better than. I like that design, the look of it, other than the other one. You can see it here. The one that was on the trophy truck, I didn't like certain things about it. I don't like this look and stuff, and I didn't like the rear. Also, like it's poly model, so like it's got this like wax softness to it, and it's easy to make it look bad on scale. So I
was really impressed of your capacity to focus in the suspension technical stuff, and it was amazing to have this kind of a special asset for us because you built it from scratch. You were searching so many info, reference, understanding how everything works, all the bits and bolts here, and combine everything together. it was really impressive. It's really inspiring to see, man. You managed to do an amazing job in there.
Yeah, thank you. I tried to. Yeah, it was crazy. The Heim joints and like rod ends and multi-point fasteners and just yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. But yeah, that was a whole thing. And it was cool. It was a good resource for us both to have. We work as a team oftentimes, even though sometimes we individually work on things. And I love, it's a part of me. I love to contribute and like, oh, I can do this, so I can do that. And it's like kind of similar to cooking, it's like, oh, we can, we'll cook a meal together. I can bring this and I can do this. I can do the salad, or I can bring this for the soup or whatever. And it's really fun. I love building these things out.
Would you jump back again to fusion, or you stick with plasticity now?
Oh yeah, I can't stand fusion anymore. It drives me nuts. Yeah, they made it worse for me at least.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, dude, come on, man. Like, make us Autodesk. Like, just you and Adobe need to stop. Both of you need to stop. You just keep making your stuff worse. There, I said it. Yeah. So.
There you go.
I mean, I'm a person that buys your product. I spend money on it, and it doesn't work. It drives me nuts. And it's like, dude, come on, guys. Like, you have one job. Stop making it worse. But yeah,
Totally, man.
But I'm also thankful for it. Plasticity has been great because I think that they're a smaller team. They're able to be more agile with it, and they really listen to their community and make tools that we actually need.
Every single 2 months you have a new update, and the update is always great. And man, I'm so happy I'm using plasticity now.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm
killing it.
I feel clever. A clever person using CAD now.
Yeah. Well, finally. I know it's been a long journey for you, but like the NSX you've made completely in plasticity, which is crazy.
I'm not sure if I mentioned ever in the podcast. Maybe I did, but I'm talking about maybe 10 years ago. I started small. I bought a master from Alias, and it was so complicated for me back then. It was 10 years ago, so I couldn't understand how that worked. Even having videos, tutorials, it was so complex to me. Like understanding all the process, I didn't know. Also, tutorial was in English, so it was like I couldn't keep up with the tutorials. It was a really good one, and I lost it. I paid so much money.
Oh man!
I was so determined to learn Alias, and I failed 10 years ago. So now my venture, with a massive respect for CAD, and jumping on it, I was like, all right, seems like a quite.
What's the differentiating factor then?
I think so many
English?
things. I think so many things. I didn't have the context of CGI CAD. What is the difference between polymodal CAD data? What is that? From that point of view, you go deep on that one. And then the tutorial wasn't that bad because I think English, and then it was quite technical. I think it is still Alias is way more technical than plasticity. And I have really buried memories of trying, but I knew that it's not gonna be my thing. Back then, it was really tricky. I think also externally so many factors. Back then, I was more focusing visualization, understanding how 3D Max and V-Ray, all these new technologies appear with the GI thing. It was also super complex to understand how to make clean renders and quicker using V-Ray. So it was like or I had to pick, or you go to Alias, and it seems quite technical, and what you're gonna do with that is really specific and narrow. But in the other hand, in Spain, working in visualization, you can do a lot with V-Ray and 3D Max. Like, all right, I have to go with visualization. But now, it's 10 years after, later.
Yeah, you got redemption.
Yeah, I'm jumping to CAD, and I feel super inspiring and excited about learning CAD. And I think I still, I have still massive respect for A-class surface modeler.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
it's a whole live craft. Yeah, you mentioned. But hey, we're having fun, man.
Yeah, well, you're doing a fantastic job, and it's also extremely inspiring and then you've been so kind with like showing me as you go too, which has been really great. As you develop and grow, you're sharing your knowledge. I know you've been sharing. What's his name?
Jojo.
Yeah, Jojo. Yeah. Yeah, you've been sharing, and it's awesome. Like, you're one of those very special people in this world that you share what you know, and that makes you better, and you just kind of grow as you go, which is awesome. And yeah, it's awesome.
Thanks,
It's
man.
inspiring. I'm looking forward to getting back into it a little bit more. It takes a while to get the mind to bend to what it works and how it works. But then once you
Yeah.
get there, you can like say goodbye to that crap. It's
Yeah.
like, it doesn't do that. Well, I guess you could make really bad surfaces if you don't know what you're doing, but like, this is just horrible. It's just garbage. Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely it's a task. It requires a focus, a mindset to be able to unlock that tool. Is tricky. It took me 2 days to understand why spline. Wait, the surface, but the spline. Who is if I'm making
Oh,
two and
one, two,
three,
three
and
selection.
but
Yeah.
then doesn't connect because I'm working now in the surface, not in the spline mode. Like, and explode my brain. But as soon
Yeah.
as you understand that, all right, cool. All right.
Yeah. Then you can get going. Yeah. We did have a lot of fun when we were doing the Zelica stuff, and I was able to do the wheel, and it was again a nice contribution. When it comes to like hard surface or like building out just geometry or suspension,
Oh,
that's awesome. But when we get into body, it's like, wow, it's really gets extremely
really
challenging.
demanding. Yeah.
It's very demanding because you can make a master line that everything comes off of, and that master line could be flawed in one small way, and it's just there goes a whole day worth of work. And to be honest, I'm not sure if I'm willing to like sacrifice a day to it just yet. And that's me being honest, because a day is like, holy crap, that's like a week, So yeah, it's all good though. Oh, we got some little sneaky teasies here.
Yeah, boy.
These are fun to do. Kind of the idea we had was, I think we had done trucks prior, but we hadn't done trucks for a while past this. And I thought, let's do some really cool like teasing renders. And I love this kind of lighting style where you just have just the right amount of stuff and not too much. I haven't seen these in a long time. It's cool to look at them again.
Yeah, I remember those days where we were really excited doing again Baja trucks. And
Yeah.
because we have the wheels, we have the chassis suspension right there. So all we have to do is just creating new skin or shell. And basically it was quite quick process, right? You were already doing renders really quick, fairly quick, maybe after 1 week.
Yeah,
Work?
yeah, I was ready to go. Actually, I think the Raptor-R came very rapidly. I think it was like a month or so, start to finish. But because we had a good foundation, so everything was there. It was just remodeling the truck, making sure everything was good, and then it was like, shaders, refinement, and then lighting. So the actual structure was really there. We had a good structure basically. Yeah.
That's great, man. Love it.
Yeah, it was fun. It was cool too. We were passing things back and forth. Look at the broken shader. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, but yeah, we had a good process going back and forth and trying to get it like this is all bad, but it's like, I got it just enough so I can just hide it just a little bit. And I also was feeling okay because I would see some of these trucks in real life and I was like, oh, they look horrible in real life. There's like all kinds of weird stuff going on. So, okay, it doesn't have to be like machine perfect just yet. These are the excuses I tell myself, obviously, but I mean, it's not too bad, but then the angle is wrong. So I was like, it's okay though. These are all fun things to kind of do. Actually, when we did the Zelka, I pitched to you, let's do like the window event. And that came from this as well. I don't know if you remember.
Yep, totally. Yeah.
That was fun.
Good one,
and
man.
then these are still, I think these are not final renders, but it was like fun seeing different colorways. I was testing that kind of pistachio color that you were using, something similar to that I really liked. This is a cool combo. Nicely kind of combined, super clean, simple,
Love it.
easy.
I love the aesthetic of this studio. It's so clean and even. I think mainly on the first row on the top,
Yeah.
you have a super even studio render. Yeah,
Yeah, these
super
guys.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was similar to these were similar to the LM02, the Lamborghini, the Vanguard, or not the Vanguard, but the Zodiac truck. Similar
Yep.
setup. The truck is so big in real life, you have to kind of like hide it by like just making an obscure background.
Yeah.
Tiling issues on this shader, but Don't look too close.
Maybe something to mention. Maybe you can describe it. How was it? Refresh my memory. Just for the people listening, the way we work, we mentioned going back and forth between both of us. How that process works. So basically, I'm doing some progress, maybe in the studio, or maybe it's doing some shaders, and then give it to you or passing to you some reference, and then you join as well, getting those files and apply to you if you want it. How was that? I think we were sharing some stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the master shaders that you had made was a really good raw metal, which we still use to this day.
Yeah.
We had a really good master shader. And then what was cool is if you wanted to change the property of it, you could easily do so by modifying it, but you had a good master to kind of work from. So it was nice to have just a base. Okay, I want like a really good matte black. Okay, cool. Or I want a good painted black with dirt like this has, or a good carbon fiber, because it's hard to build those shaders, and just having that master shader. So just passing things back and forth and getting it so that you could just apply it to all the things that you want to see in that way. And it's kind of like a drag and drop of your own library, which is really good. And then obviously, as we've mentioned prior, is like you get it, it looks good, and then you have to tweak it and tweak it and tweak it.
Yeah.
So it's just modifying the parameters and, making duplicates and then shifting it, and then constantly checking in with yourself. Is this working? Is this good? Is this, how does this work and everything? And yeah.
It's true, man. It's true. It's amazing to see, and looking back and remembering all this process. Because I have to say, nowadays we are not focusing that much about the details anymore, for different reason. I'm trying to understand why right now on the fly. But I feel like maybe back then it was something like we wanted to try and having a master shaders and apply to all the object. When I say master file shaders, to me it was a little bit complex. We have AO ambient occlusion shaders, where it could be intelligent in a way, depending on how you surround the object, apply different look in terms of dirt or scratches, and it's a really clever system. But if you have different scale or different object around that shader, it will be modify in render, and it will kind of a pain in the ass, right? It was a whole process. I have a beautiful shader, super complex and beautiful how it looks in this particular object, and then you apply the same shader to others, it crash and nothing works because the type planner doesn't look the same scale with this track, and it was kind of a disappointment in a way.
Yeah, I think we realized, if I connect with what you're saying, I think we realize that those are the details, and I think we've managed to make some really great master shaders that work really great, and then some of them don't, and it's like, okay, this is a waste of time. Like, it's never going to be completely there. So like get it to like 90% and then move on, because we know that actually what's happening is it's a compromised situation of the actual tool. The tool itself has a flaw in it, and that's one of the flaws. It just can't replicate reality. We're thinking, and potentially who knows what the projection is, but AI is going to intersect with the GI and the renders and everything, and then it's going to give you that slight imperfection to create the ultimate false reality. That's potentially what's going to happen. Like, you can turn on and modify and adjust the image with AI adding to it, so it has that photo depth quality of imperfection, and therefore that they hopefully won't have to UV and everything. It's like it'll know when it spots like texture repetition and all these kind of tiling issues. It will kind of fix those things and amend them based on like an LLM of images that's basing on reality. Because imagine feeding, because what we did is we just had tons of references of trucks and studios, and we used that and looked at it, but it'll be the same way. It'll reduce the eye and the discipline of the creator. But at the same time, if the creator has enough motivation, inspiration to persevere and make a great image, then it'll figure itself out. But so much of what we do is going to be completely removed with like new tools, because what we do is very friction based and it's really challenging to do. But I would say what I'm hoping for, and the difference is like how to direct things and direct the taste of things and making sure things work and make sense, which is also super tricky. These are final renders, by the way.
Man, I
And
cannot
I
wait.
was
I
able to
cannot wait
hide.
for AI taking over.
Yeah, same, dude.
And
Yeah.
helping us to make better renders.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think there's obviously a cost to all these things, but Carlos and I are both pretty pro the tool being used under our guidance, hopefully to make it better. And it's just a tool of the future. I know a lot of artists are like anti, but I don't see the point in that. I get why, but it's like just, it's a part of it. But everybody has their own reasons. I'm not going to sit here and try to convince anybody.
No, man, it's a whole topic there about AI. But I believe we can say something about AI. I think we are just the beginning. We need more
Yeah.
time to get used to it and see where it goes with this technology. I believe there is an opportunity here to apply AI in a good way, and you have 100% control of AI and do amazing stuff. That's what I want to believe. It's not there yet, but I feel like it's getting closer.
Yeah, every day I think it's getting closer. And again, it's going to come down to like artists directing it and working with it and using it as a tool, just like we use this. Because if you showed this to an artist, 50 years ago, it would literally, they couldn't comprehend, what are you talking about? Like, how does this even make sense? Because it would feel real and it would look real and it would have a sense of reality.
What are you doing here? You are painting the bounce and then painting by... No, I'm just literally moving this node on the left.
Yeah.
What?
Yes, exactly. It all kind of transfers over. It's just looking at the world in a future tense, basically. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping for it because it'll be really fun. And then you can just be back in the presence of the moment of making something fun that's hopefully inspiring and all of these kind of things. And yeah, but yeah, I did my best to make a livery that would hide the bad geometry, then also light it in a way. Kind of went over top on the grade, but these are some of the hero ones, if I recall. And it was you and me bouncing back between what you're doing at the Meta and what I was doing with here. I think I was just like sending you stuff like, let's do it like this and let's try it like that. And we were having so much fun just passing back and forth and getting inspired from one another. And usually what happens is I get really inspired. I have a couple days, I do a bunch of work, and then you come on top of that and you just absolutely dominate it. And I'm like, and then I just go, okay, I'm done. Yeah, and that's what I remember being here. Yeah.
Yeah.
But some of these are okay. These are low resolution too. I should have got like the highest resolution that I had. I think I just grabbed these from like one of our folders while prepping the podcast because like it just looks soft and stuff. But
Yeah. Do you remember why these renders has different tones? I mean, on the right one, it feels like a more reddish.
yeah,
Is it something that you apply already color correction in frame buffer, or it was more like a already rendered out and post production on top?
I don't know. I think I know I graded these. It must have been just me grading them in different times and different days. Yeah, because this has got like a pink red. This has got like a teal green kind of blue thing going on. So yeah, it could have been different days, different batches, just kind of playing with it. And then now that they're all kind of randomly put together, it's like, what the heck happened here? There's a lot of inconsistencies. Yeah. Yeah. But this is in my head at the end of the day. This is kind of what I had in mind. I was like, this could be it. And this is, as I mentioned, this is what I secretly wanted Ken's truck to look like. It's like, yeah, like this, just a Raptor, just like, if you look at the stock compared to this, there's a lot of stuff that I did that is really subtle, but it's there. It's like, crunched the eyes down and moved this thing and adjusted that and popped this up and lifted that out and changed that thing. And basically everything has been modified just slightly.
Yeah, what I love about this, like, despite all the challenge and the polymodal issues, you managed to pull this off and make a beautiful render and somehow bring the vibe of what you wanted, what's your vision you had. And this is basically the interpretation of that vision. I think you succeed, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, well, we did it together. Teamwork, baby.
Yeah, man.
Lightweight, baby. Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. This is a fun set of renders to do. And yeah, looking back on it, actually, it's kind of funny with all of them. There's like moments where I'm like, I think that was actually better than those final ones. Like I never really finished these ones. So I'm like, I should have did like a spec of these too, but I'll never do it because I don't want to go back. Always going forwards. And then like the final one, I thought it'd be fun to do a white livery,
of course,
setup with in a red studio, obviously. And
super
that was really
sick.
fun.
This Ready Studio is a banger, man.
Yeah, it's fun. We had a lot of fun with the red studio. It just balances all the red everywhere, and you just get this like awesome, fun stuff.
Man.
This was just extra.
Show me that
stuff.
front shot. Wah!
Yeah, you got the front shots.
Man.
Yeah. Yeah, so fun. Yeah, good times. Yeah. Some issues over there. Yeah. All I see is the issues. Damn it. But yeah, all in all, like I mentioned, like this is just super fun. Another thing that throws it off is it kind of feels like a toy. So it's usually just due to like lack of secondary, tertiary details. Like you can see underneath here. So there needs to be like pieces and extra things, just so that it felt real, more solid.
Well, it never ends,
Never ends. Yeah, truly. And, it ends here. That's where I stop until like somebody wants to actually make this. And then that would be a whole process. We've had a couple people reach out to us about manifesting this into reality. It's just a matter of time. And again, this would just be like the front piece, the essence of the piece, like taking this basic idea and then adding and extracting on it and making it even more. But all in time. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Super stoked. It was a really cool journey. It's awesome to always talk about Ken and the stories of Ken and just the journey, and give props to Tom and the entire Ford engineers and the team. It's just so many people that had their hand in making this incredible vehicle, which I consider to be the best vehicle that I've ever owned. And it's amazing. It's just the best. And I'm so
understand
stoked.
why. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you got firsthand, baby. Yeah, yeah. It's just such a cool vehicle and so much fun. Yeah.
This is great, man. Actually, today thinking about your Raptor and the comparison with the Ram and the Raptor, I'm thinking maybe there's an option there to make a redemption of the Raptor-R, making the Raptor-R against to the Ram. I can do the Ram. I quite like that truck, man. I don't know. I'll leave you there. I'm pitching an idea in life.
Oh man, there's so many things. There's another car that we were gonna do next that I'm putting my whole energy into.
I know you were investing a lot of time already. I feel like the next car you're gonna be just straightforward. This is it.
Yeah,
I got it in my head already. You've been growing that idea for weeks already. So yeah.
Yeah, both of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be a really fun one. Yeah, maybe someday. I think a potential redemption would be, again, to take this and then go into plasticity and like truly redesign it from a sketch and do it kind of method like this. It's just these projects. If I do it this way, then it takes 6 months to do, most likely 4 to 6 months. Just depends on like how much time between everything else,
Yeah,
if I was doing it full time, I could do
consider.
it faster.
Yeah, it's a lot to consider when you start from scratch. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because to be fair, I'm sure Tom has a lot of different roles, but I mean, he's not doing the clay here. This is his bud, whoever this guy is. So it takes a team of people that work in tandem to do from sketch to Final CAD. You're a rare monster that you can do that as one entity, which I found it's got to be so rare that not a lot of people can do that. And we're all trying to get there. It's all process, and but that would be the redemption. That would be the method I would suggest: is start from scratch, sketch, then do rough poly blocking inside of Cinema 4D to get the base to use as a guide, and then bring it into plasticity, run master splines, and do all the lofting and all the A-class surface stuff. Then bring it back in here and then lay it on the actual tube chassis and do like that. We do have another off-road that we're building too that not following that path, but that one's going to be insane too. I'm really excited about that. So yeah,
It
there's
is
no need
insane.
for another off-road vehicle for a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
We
Actually,
have the military one too. That one's insane.
I got it ready.
Yeah, I know.
I got the
Just
military ready.
Just waiting for my ass to finish up. Stupid. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so many options, man. Sometimes I think I need more time
Oh,
because,
God.
as you mentioned, I love to do everything.
Yeah.
I enjoy every single process, and I feel like sometimes I don't have the time. I need more life. I need another Carlos to do. All right, you do the sketching and doing the modeling. You do the rendering, right? And then we meet here, and then 1 week, and then we do it all together, and
That
then
sounds
we
like
have
a
another
company.
one. Yeah,
That's what a company is.
I'm trying really hard to my dog. My dog is not taking care of that.
Yeah, dude. I tell my dog all the time, and all he does is just sit there and
farting,
demand rubs.
Just
Yeah, I'm like,
eating, sleeping.
yeah, I'm like, this isn't helping me with CGI, rubbing you, just making you happy. Yeah. If only there was multiples. I think that's really the trick, right? It's just how to expand on that. We are, like we're growing as a group of people. We've done amazing stuff with Alexi, now Clayton. We did the Testarossa with Clayton, which was amazing.
Yeah.
We also have a new collaborator we're really excited about on our latest car we're releasing pretty soon, which is really cool. That'll be fun to talk about that as well. But yeah, it's such a trick, so it's so tricky to get these things out there. And
I think, I took away from, I think in the end, it's going to be a repeating theme for all these podcasts. But now thinking loud, to me, it's like a takeaway. It's like I'm trying really hard to enjoy what you're actually doing in the present day. Enjoy the process. Whatever you're doing, rendering, texturing, UVs, or modeling, anything.
Just enjoying the process as you go. And doing that in a way where you're just having fun with it. And I think that's really the trick. This all came from, I own the truck. I'm really inspired by it. I got a chance to go in the Baja with Ken. So there's all these beautiful moments that added to the inspiration. And that's why this looks the way it looks, because it all comes from, this is how I see it. And this is how I want to see it. And this is how I hope it, comes off, which is really killer. So yeah, it all comes from a good place. And that's really the key. It's the only reason to do any of these things. They're all passion driven anyway. So many people ask me, because I'm not an automotive person really, and this is like a recent thing. I mean, I've loved cars, but they always ask me, because I come from a different world of film and stuff, like, why cars? I'm like, why not? Stop asking me that question. Because they're awesome, okay? Yeah, they just haven't experienced vehicles the way I have, I suppose. It's literally the coolest thing ever. I get so confused why they ask me the same question.
It's funny because somehow you are justifying yourself. Why? Because car is awesome, It's beautiful.
Yeah, they're literally the coolest thing. They're so fun, and they're such a cool way to spend your time as a human being. It's like, it's so awesome. But
they are,
it's
man.
like
They are.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah. It's all
Yeah.
tied together. Really excited for the next ones. I don't even know what the next ones are going to be, but I know it's going to be awesome.
No idea. No idea.
You're next, though, which is nice. I always like to be in your position for this episode, which is just sitting and watching and laughing.
It's easier, yeah.
Yeah. It's
All the heavy liftings from you. So yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. So this Raptor-R is build 18. So looking at our website here. Oh, okay. So it's the Nova and the Dream. Ooh. Yeah, these are big builds. That's a big one for you too. Heavy. Dream builds.
Yeah. Yep, heavy.
Yeah, it's a big one. I'm excited for that. Lots to talk about on both of those vehicles. Lots to learn too. Lots to share. It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, I think that this is a good one because it's one of those episodes where it's gonna be slightly different from my point of view. I will be a little bit less ashamed sharing the process. I feel really proud of that Nova.
Oh yeah, it's aged incredibly well, considering how much work you put into it as well.
It's a lot of work. It's insane.
Yeah, again, you did it. You went hard, and I was like, "Damn it, dude! I can't
Stop
go that
it.
hard.
Stop it.
Stop it." Yeah, it's awesome though. Yeah, I'm looking at the renders and the amount of work that you did. This is one of the projects that I love to share to people and how crazy you are that don't know what this is. I'm like, yeah, that's all CGI. People just don't understand it. Like, no way. I'm like, yeah, that's all CGI. They just freak out. It's so cool. Yeah.
I start to feel self-conscious here. Yeah.
It's awesome. It's really good.
That's me. I can go deep.
Yeah. Well, I hope that everybody that's been watching these videos, you guys are enjoying it. I've been getting some nice feedback from friends and colleagues that really love this. You know, it's completely opposite from this whole YouTube thing, which is like, hey, everybody, like and subscribe, and like just trying so hard to like just be a part of the algorithm. It's like we're kind of doing the opposite way, which is like probably not going to yield tons of views and all that kind of stuff. But if anything, we hope that whoever sees this, if you see this, it gives you some enlightenment. It also gets you inspired. And that's kind of the reason. So yeah, hopefully, you know, this adds value to you in a good way and inspires you to go off and make rad stuff to inspire us, because we're all living in the same ecosystem.
Yeah, man.
And yeah, kill it.
Well said, man. Well said.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a way to end it. Yeah.
Yep. We got it.
Awesome, people. Go out there, make awesome stuff, inspire one another, make great things, and keep it fun. Keep it fun.
See you in the next one.
Yes. Ciao, ciao.
Adios.